Hey everyone, welcome to the Power Connection chat. My name is Bob Ewer. I've been doing Power Connection broadcasts live for the last year and a bit. This is broadcast number 121, and I'm here with Leigh Mitchell and Bill Banham. Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, actually, Bill, yours good afternoon because you're in England right now. But
good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are in the world, everybody.
There you go. Well, today we have a very special broadcast because these are two people that I've been working a lot with the last several months, and I'm really excited to share this. So today our topic is about community builders in crisis. Now, if you haven't been to the Power Connection broadcast, basically we're going to be here for the next 30, 40 minutes to talk about our topic, which is around community building and the challenges during the pandemic. And we encourage everyone here to be part of the conversation. So we want you to kind of, put your comments and questions below. I see already Christopher's here. Hello, good morning. If you have questions for the group, that's great. If you have comments or thoughts or suggestions, we appreciate that. Doesn't matter where you're from. First off, tell us where you're from. Are you from North America, South America, Asia, Europe, Australia, Africa? Because we tend to get people from all over, which is kind of cool. So, and if you like what you're hearing, you can tag people in the comments. You can share us on your own pages. You can also do the like, clap, heart, double tap, light bulb face thing to let us know that you're enjoying the broadcast. And I typically broadcast on Wednesdays around 8:45 a.m. So that's why we're here this morning. So let's get right into it. And I'll start off. And one of the reasons we're doing this broadcast is to talk about we're going to be doing an event. Hey, Jenny said that from Toronto. That's great. We're doing an event on February 25th. Community Building Crisis Summit is going to bring together brands and experts with mutual interest in finding ways not just to survive, but thrive. So I hope you join us as we present 15 plus experts who share their thoughts on how to come out on the other side of the pandemic with more influence, larger networks, and proven ways to remain at the center of their communities. Check out www.ourcommunitybuilders.com. This online event is intended to be a catalyst for positive change and impact to get to the next year with resiliency, grit, and determination so that no one's left behind. And again, it's a free event. You can go register. The speakers are amazing. It's going to be a really incredible time. So make sure you please check it out. With that being said, I want to kind of move on to my colleagues here. And, I'd love for you to, for each of you, I'd love for you to maybe talk a bit, introduce yourselves, but also tell us a bit more about, the challenges you faced the last year in terms of running your community, because both of you run communities that I admire and respect, and we'll get into how we're collaborating now. But why don't we start with that? And Leigh, why don't you go first?
Oh my goodness. Well, I lost some work, and so that was a challenge, and I'm sure that a lot of people have experienced similar situations. So that affects everything. And of course, we've had extra responsibilities as parents. I'm a mother of two children. And so, I'm juggling having a lot of people at home. I lost my home office to my husband, although he created me another great one. So that's all good. But it's, it's been a real challenge, but I think it's allowed people to really step up and show their humanity, their kindness. I think a lot of really heartwarming moments have come out of what we've all experienced.
Yeah, no, I agree. And what's been your biggest learning throughout this past year?
Well, I think my biggest learning has been the power of resilience and the power of grit, and really just focusing on your vision for your family, for your health, for your business, and just never stop believing in that vision. I think that's most important, and it's something that has been a great challenge for me. I know I've personally prioritized more time out getting exercise to make sure that I can be more creative and just have time by myself. I think, Bobby, you and I have discussed this. It's like you never have alone time anymore.
Right.
On a positive note, actually, I'd say that with my husband and I, other than a few bumps along the road, we've kind of gotten closer just because we've never spent so much time together. And we've taken advantage of going on a lot of walks and reconnecting to nature because there's really nothing else to do. So my learning has been just that the power of relationships and not giving up.
Can you tell us a bit more about your community, though? So, I mean, Women in Biz Network. Tell us more about the community and what are some of their challenges, or the challenges of even running the community. Maybe share a bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. So, well, let's start first with the challenges of women in business. So, unfortunately, we've hit a 35-year low for women in the workforce because many have lost jobs because of being in certain service industries. Also, detrimental effects to their businesses, whether they have shops, studios, or in a field that was dramatically impacted. So lots of challenges there for women. Increased challenges in networking and finding time. Time is such a huge commodity that I think women are really are struggling with. In terms of what I've personally experienced with building and maintaining community through Women in Biz is, well, I'd say in most circumstances, it's actually been positive in the sense that while we're all going through really challenging situations, we've all banded together to really support each other. As I said before, there's a lot of humanity and compassion and love and mutual problem solving and stepping up for each other. Mentorship plays a big part of my community. We match women with mentors. We have a mentor advisory board. So those mentors have been stepping up. Obviously we are not running in-person events. That's been a challenge, because people miss that human contact. I find that I haven't been able to take on as much work and running to the depth of the types of things that I want to do with my business. One thing that has emerged through this is we launched a diversity-driven career board, which has really been a powerful tool. So I guess what I've had to do with my business is really tap into what are the current challenges that my community is having, and see how I can stand up and assist in those areas. So it's caused a lot of extra time and energy and thought, and also just really tapping into what the challenges are that my community is facing and addressing that, and then figuring out what's the best way to move forward. And the biggest takeaway that I've learned from all of this is that you can't do it all yourself. You have to work with amazing partners here we're working together because it's so much easier and more enjoyable to work together as a team. On the Women in Biz Network side, I've helped to bring my community together to also do additional programming. So one of my members helped me to launch a author-led book club. I just wouldn't have had the time to do that myself. So, those are things where people are stepping up and offering support, and so together we're doing more.
Wow, that was really thoughtful and eloquent. I mean, a lot of things that are going on. So I'm glad that you shared that. And you probably get asked that a lot too from all your members too, like what's going on or how are you feeling? And so so it's a very common thing for us to have to just keep sharing what we're going through. But I think it's good for us kind of in terms of processing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let me move over to Bill, and I'm going to do a quick intro. Bill is the publisher and editor of the HR Gazette. He's host of the popular HR Chat podcast, CMO at ICNE Marketing, and co-founder of the Global Innovate Work Community for HR Talent and Tech Pros. So, Bill, welcome. Tell us a bit about your journey, both personally but also for the community that you work with over the past year.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. It's been a heck of a year, eh? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going back to my photos this time last year. I was in California on a business trip. Everything was normal. We heard about this thing coming out of China at the time, but nobody was taking it too seriously. Look where we are now, everyone. Wow. Okay, yeah, so I'm Bill Banham. Hello. Thank you for that nice introduction there, Bobby. I am the publisher and editor of the HR Gazette magazine, and since 2016, the host of the HR Chat podcast, and since 2017, one of the co-founders of the Innovate Work community for HR, for talent pros, and for leaders. And for me, things were going pretty swimmingly, thank you very much, up until around about March 13th of last year, when everybody was like, holy crap, what is going on? We need to all hanker down. Up to that point, on the magazine side of things, I was fortunate to get paid by big HR tech companies to go and cover cool events in cool places like New Orleans or Chicago, and do lots of in-person networking, old school marketing, if you like, shake hands and get to know people in physical environments. When it came to the event side of things, we were doing pretty well there. We'd grown from doing a couple of big events in downtown Toronto at Mars Discovery District each year for 350 to 400 HR pros and leaders to taking that across Canada. And then 2020, guys, was going to be the year. We were going to we were going to have events everywhere. We were going to do all these different chapters, in-person meetups, which would then lead to larger events all across the US and elsewhere. And then, just like everyone else, I got hit, and I was like, holy smokes. And I don't know about you two, but I took maybe a few weeks there and felt sorry for myself. And then I was like, right, we've got to jump back on the horse here, right? And we've got to make this work. So the way that we pivoted when it comes to the Innovate Work side of things is we took our events online, and it allowed us to do things that we otherwise couldn't do, actually. So, for example, in North America, we broke up our events by time zone. And if we're doing one for the Innovate Work East Coast community, for example, that allowed us to bring in awesome speakers, awesome experts who are maybe based in Philadelphia or New York or Boston. Otherwise, they perhaps wouldn't have been able to speak at an event which was happening, say, in Toronto. So that was a big silver lining. Beyond that, we used it as an opportunity to get going, to start communities in new places. But at the moment, it's all online, and hopefully one day soon we'll be able to meet in person. But over the course of the last year, we've taken those events to places like Australia and the UK and the Caribbean, and that's the big plan. When we can all get back together, we're going to all hang out in the Cayman Islands, and it's going to be really awesome. And hopefully that'll be at the end of this year, if not next year.
I like that you have this great vision in mind. That's fantastic.
Well, everybody's had to rethink what they're doing and how they're doing things, right? The key thing, I believe, is not to lose sight of what the goals are. It's just to readjust things, to try and be a bit more agile, and use this current time as an opportunity to learn, as an opportunity, like Lee said, to collaborate with new awesome folks, and to get your ducks in a row for a time when we can all get back together. However, and this goes back to part of the reason why we're doing the event on February 25th, there are lots of things that we can do right now to engage our communities, to reach new people, to have conversations, just like we're doing today. Right.
And, and I'll share a bit about my story now. So basically, I run DYPB, Discovery Personal Brand. We've done 17 LinkedIn local events over the past 2.5 years. We've ran conferences for 5 years. It was a really great community of people. We had a team of volunteers, and I had a team that was helping us build this startup. It was great. And then in February 2020, we ran our best event ever. And I was like, okay, this is great in terms of, we're in the new year. Okay, we're chugging along. And then COVID hit. And it's like, oh man, we can't do that live event anymore. And so, it was hard for us because we didn't know kind of what, and I was also struggling too with my kids being at home and the craziness and online learning and trying to navigate my speaking business also being devastated. So how do I navigate the startup? We tried to do a LinkedIn local event in May during the pandemic, and again, to Bill's point, we had some international speakers. We had a person from Australia, one from the US, one from the West Coast. Okay, we have some really big speakers, and it didn't go well. And a lot of people just weren't into doing online events at that point. They weren't willing to pay $10-15 to be part of this, and so it didn't go as well as I wanted. And so we had to regroup. What are we going to do? And then pretty soon, because we didn't have in-person stuff, a lot of the people left. It was a huge draw for the people that worked with us and are part of our community. They really liked getting together for the event every two months and having our in-person meetings. So for me, the thing that I miss the most and I struggle with and has been hard for us is that not having in-person connection has been detrimental to the community that we had fostered and built and cultivated. So, and so we had to switch to virtual. So one of the things we did was start doing a lot of webinars, built up our mailing list, which was kind of cool, email list. And then we did, and then we put our main course, the personal branding program, online. And that took about 2-3 months, but now we have that. And that's kind of cool to have it online. So we've been putting people through that program, which has been great. And then we finally came back in November. So, okay, let's get back and do another event. And, to Lee's point, it was about resilience because, going through this required a lot of resilience. And it just happened to be my word for the year. I actually chose the word resilience for my 2020 word of the year before COVID even hit, because I was like, man, this is the year, what Bill said. And so that actually went pretty well. So that was good. And then, I felt alone. I felt lonely, before there was, I would say, about 6 to 10 people working on various aspects of DYPB, and then another 5-10 external people doing stuff. And then pretty soon, went down to 6, went down to 5, and then pretty soon down to 3. And so I kind of miss working with all the people that were doing stuff. So it was really the 3 of us that are doing everything now. And so I kind of miss that. And so I'm not sure. What I'm getting at now is, here we are now trying to deal with this, and that's why we gathered. But the story unfolds that it was a crisp fall morning, and I think I got an email or a message from a gentleman named Bill, and he's like, and I'm not sure what you said. Did you say, Bobby, what are we doing? Like, you reached out to me first, right? That's how it all started, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you and Lee are both people that I wanted to work with for quite some time. Ever since I was at a social HR camp back in, 2014 or something, and somebody pointed you out and said, "Do you know who that is? You've got to talk to that guy."
That was a long time ago,
right?
Wow, okay.
Right? Yeah. And Lee and I have been dancing around each other for years, wanting to do something together, and it just felt like the right time. And I certainly wasn't quite sure what exactly we put together, and that came through the conversations that we had. And I think the general consensus, and Lee, you drove this conversation, was we're all builders, we're all centre of our own respective communities, and each of us have gone through our struggles and had to reevaluate what we're doing and how we're doing things. And maybe there's an opportunity to reach out to others who are going through the same sort of experiences. Direct comparisons, of course, other people who've got their own communities, others who are looking to build communities, but also from my side, I think there's a conversation to also be had about leaders and HR pros and how they're looking to try and keep their corporate community together, if you like, try to ensure that their company culture and a sense of going in the same direction, a sense of why, if you want to use that Simon Sinek term, is still being facilitated, still happening while we're all disparate and we're all working remotely.
And I think the timing was good too, because I mentioned that we ran a successful event in November on resilience, but the truth is it was a lot of work. Like I think I spent hundreds of hours on this thing, and in terms of how it ended up at the end, I mean, it was just a lot of work, and I felt again lonely, and I felt like, oh, man, it's too much work. Maybe collaborating with other people was a good idea. And so, and I'd worked with Lee before too, and she's awesome. So I was like, okay, let's do this. And so I'm glad it worked out that we've been doing this stuff to collaborate on this bigger event, which is it's called Community Builders in Crisis. It's on February 25th in the afternoon, 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a free event. We have an incredible lineup of speakers. We got Mohammed Faki, the CEO of Paramount Fine Foods. We have Claude Silver, who is the Chief Heart Officer of VaynerMedia in New York City. We have Dio Gibson. We have Kirsten Stewart. We have Shona Fulcher. She's the Chief Community Officer of Center for Social Innovation, and a whole bunch of other really amazing speakers. If you go to ourcommunitybuilders.com, you'll see the site. Lee, why don't you tell us a bit about when you're approaching the idea of collaborating with other community builders? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a philosophy that I've always held dear to myself because when I got into this business, coming from a government background, I never networked, I never attended events. And when I entered into this arena of entrepreneurship and started my business, there at the time when I started, there were only a handful of women's organizations, and over time they're popping up everywhere because obviously there was the real need for support for women, and I learned early on that I could be paranoid and let my ego drive, like oh, I can't work with these people because their business is too similar to mine. I dropped that thought mindset pretty quickly because I knew that it would just drive me crazy, and I decided that I would follow the philosophy of collaboration over competition. And so over the years, I've worked with many women's organizations that share the same values, want to do good for women. And so it was a no-brainer. And slowly, as I got to get known within other communities and other ecosystems, I was approached to work with other communities outside of the women's arena. And, you're Bobby, you and actually Bill too, when Bill was working with the Canadian Sales Association, we came up with an amazing partnership. Bobby, with your organization and all of the events that you've put on, we've collaborated on many things together, and I meet such interesting people that are maybe outside of my ecosystem. I find that my community appreciates that I'm bringing other people that maybe they wouldn't have exposure to. I'm creating value by offering discounts to attend other communities' events. So to me, it's a great business decision. That's the bottom line. And also it takes away some of the stress and the overwhelm and feeling alone when you work with other organizations that share the same values, have the same end result in mind. So if we band together and we can support more people, to me, it's just such a powerful tool.
Yeah, I felt really good having people that I can bounce ideas off, having people that got my back. And even sometimes just just having this debrief, like, oh, I've had a bad day, or I have a headache. So everyone, we're here. It's a Power Connection chat. We're here at every Wednesday, 8:45 a.m. talking with various leaders around issues of the day. Today we're talking about community building and crisis and how we're navigating the pandemic. If you are joining us, please comment below, share your thoughts, share your questions. Are you running a community? Are you a community member? Do you have questions on how to build community within your workplace, or maybe for a social community, or an entrepreneurship community? Just let us know, because we want to hear from you, and it gives me people as part of the conversation. Speaking of crisis, we also have, the three of us have also had to deal with crises even throughout. So it's taken a while for us to get to where we're doing this event, which is great. But we've had delays because of life and health and craziness and stress. And so the three of us have kind of gone through that together too, and have tried to support each other too.
Yeah, 100%. So one thing that I love about working with you guys, and hopefully this will come across in the sessions that are going to be shared on February 25th as well, is it's really important to find people that you can work with that you don't just have complementing work skill sets, but your personalities complement each other too, and you can be empathetic towards your colleagues. And I've certainly experienced that since we've all got together and started working on this project. Without going into too many details, I've lost someone very close to me recently due to COVID, and I think both of you have gone through your stresses and your pressures over the course of the last few months. But the point is, like Bobby, I love the term that you used, which is we've all got each other's back. And that's what this is all about, right? At the moment, we can't get together in person, but we can still collaborate. We can still bounce off each other, and when needed, we can still support each other
and laugh. I think that's
and laugh.
Yes. Yeah,
that's top on my list of
100%.
reasons why I like to work with you guys, is that you make me laugh, and I need more laughter in my life right now, don't you?
Yeah, it's true. We've had quite a few laughs, or even like whenever Bill's little kid shows up, and little kid. And yesterday my kids showed up. Remember? They were fawning over me. What are you guys doing? I mean, they're 10 and 12, so I was like, get out of here. But but still, it's kind of funny. So we have those nice moments. That's great. Well, listen, we have a question from the audience. All right, let's see we'll fight over who gets to answer this one, or we can all share a take. How has the current climate changed the way organizations address diversity and inclusion? Do you see a change or shift in D&I? This is from Srivatsan. What do you guys think? Anybody want to start?
I can take the.
Sure, go ahead.
So I think a lot of obviously political turmoil and issues of inequality have really surfaced more so in the news and media than ever before. And we went through some horrible situations in the United States, but also in Canada. And I think what was resounding effect of all of this was that racism and inequality is everywhere. It's not just in places where we expect it to be, but it's also that subtle stuff. And there's been a lot of reports of unconscious bias towards different populations that experience challenges, and I think that they're finally finding an opportunity to be heard and speak to there's the overt stuff, and that's easy to be angry at, but it's the subtle stuff that really is the tougher stuff to deal with. And so what I'm finding now is that organizations want to do better, but they're just trying to figure out how. And so, one of the reasons why we put this event together and wanted to have diversity was a really important factor in it, because if we want to understand the problems, then we need the people that are experiencing the challenges to share with us their experiences, so that as organizations we can do better. So what I'm finding, for the first time ever, really, to be honest with you, organizations are reaching out to Women in Biz Network and saying, like, we want to promote these roles to groups that wouldn't normally see this. I don't need to go looking for them. They're coming to us, because I think that they realize that they've been in this little silo and they haven't been doing enough to have other people be seen and heard and have the opportunities that they should, because they haven't been doing enough. And so we're all working together to do more to solve these diversity inclusion issues. And I think that there's a lot of great opportunity in the next couple of years, and I just hope that we don't lose the momentum.
Great point. And I think that if you're the event actually has a couple of diversity and inclusion advocates, which is going to be really great. I know Michael Bach is the our executive director of the Canadian Center for Diversity and Inclusion. So he'll be there speaking. So there'll be a chance to ask questions and talk about this issue. So I think it's a really good question you brought up there. Let me go to another question, if you guys don't mind. This one's for you, Bill. So when it comes to maintaining a sense of corporate community or company culture, what are some of the struggles facing business leaders and HR pros at the moment?
That is an amazing question, Bobby. My goodness me.
It is, right? I mean, wow. Wish I came up with it myself.
So, I mean, part of what I do is I get to interview lots of very interesting, very intelligent people within the world of HR and leadership and D&I and talent and other HR related areas. And what I'm hearing from them consistently is it's been a big learning curve, trying to get to grips with moving from most employees being, traditional in-office employees and being able to learn through osmosis by just hearing what the conversation is behind you, or getting to know someone when you're going to get your cup of water or make your cup of coffee or whatever it is, to this whole new situation now where we're all working remotely. So it's interesting. I'm interviewing a chap later on from Gartner, the research institute, and as part of my homework there, I was looking at some of the stats over the last couple of years. So in 2018, it was around about 10% of folk who were working from home. And by the way, just to clarify this is people who would otherwise be working in offices, not folk who are in retail, etc. In 2019, that number had got up to 20%, and then in 2020 it's 100%, of course. Once all of this is over, according to the research from Gartner, that's going to go back down to around about 28% of folk who will be working full-time remotely. But that's still a much bigger jump than they're expecting, and that's because of COVID. But with that comes a lot of questions, a lot of concerns for leaders. How do you continue to foster that sense of company culture? How can you quickly onboard new people? And imagine you're one of these millions of people who've lost their job over the course of the last year. You've been lucky enough to find a new role, but now everything that you're doing is online. You're not going to have a chance to have that same camaraderie, those same experiences, learning through osmosis, as your colleagues who perhaps were onboarded and brought in to the workforce in a physical format pre-Q1 of 2020. So when it comes to maintaining a sense of corporate community, there are certain things you can do. You can have regular Zoom meetings or whatever else you use for those sorts of platforms. It ain't quite the same, but you've got to accept that, and you've got to try and embrace that. And sometimes it's a bit tongue-in-cheek. Sharing content, whether that's through the internet or employee advocacy, that's a big thing at the moment, and you really should embrace that. There are lots of different technologies out there. So the guy that I do the Innovate Work events with, the beautiful Rob Catalano, his tool is all about employee communication, for example. Leveraging tools like that and making better use of those, I think that's really, really helpful for maintaining a sense of company culture or corporate community at the moment. We will get through this, and then 72% of folk probably will be going back into an office environment, at least part-time. I don't ever see people really fully wanting to go back to the office all the time. Unless you've got a screaming kid like I do, then maybe you might want to. I think it's changed how we see work and how we want to manage our time, and do we really want to be spending an hour each way in a commute? The amount of productivity that you can get out of that extra hour in the morning and evening, for example. But right now, there are tools available to you. The key thing is, though, leveraging technology, going to your managers, speaking to your HR department, and sharing where you're coming from. A lot of people are suffering from anxiety and stress and depression. I'll hold my hands up, particularly at the beginning of this horrible crisis and in the first lockdown that I experienced. I was one of those people who kept going to the fridge in case there's something new in there, having a bit more cheese and I've got a bit of weight, and then that affects your mental health, right? So you've got to be honest with your colleagues, honest with your managers about what you're going through. And just to go back to one other thing that Lee mentioned earlier on, I've really used the last 9 or 10 months as an opportunity to enjoy the small things in life, to get outside, go for a walk, enjoy nature, go for a run, and have more of a work-life balance.
I mean, you brought up a lot of stuff that that I could address. But first one of the reasons I love work with you is because you might call me beautiful sometime. That would be nice. Number two,
you are beautiful.
Thank you. I know. I mean, the fact that you say that about your colleagues, I mean, that's fantastic. I'll take that. Number two, I'm really interested to hear what Claude Silver, she's the Chief Heart Officer at VaynerMedia, working under Gary Vaynerchuk. She runs a large organization there in New York City. I'd love to hear her thoughts and the stuff that you just talked about. I think that'd be kind of cool. And the third point, it's slipped my mind, but those are two things that kind of struck me. And I think that there's a lot to consider in terms of navigating our mindset. And I think people are much more easygoing about stuff. I mean, I was listening to a radio show this morning where whenever there's an interruption with some expert on television or whatever social media, everyone's fine with it. We get it. The person that this guy put his kid on his lap because he wanted the kid wanted daddy, and he just continued with the conversation. This is the life we're in. Like, we are all in each other's homes right now. It's more intimate, So I think there's a lot of power there. Again, we're talking about community builders in crisis. If you are joining us, we'd love to get questions or comments on what we're talking about. And we also would like to tell you to go check out the ourcommunitybuilders.com, because we're promoting an event February 25th. It's a half-day free conference with some amazing speakers, and so we hope you'll check it out. I should also mention that, actually, everybody on the call, since it is Powerful Connection, that tomorrow I'm actually doing a webinar for LinkedIn. So LinkedIn's asked me to do a webinar on storytelling for LinkedIn stories and for your content, and I'll put a link in the comments, but check that out too. I'm really excited to do that. It's the first time they're doing webinars, so it's pretty cool. That said, so let's talk a bit about the conference. Maybe you want to share a bit about what you're excited about, or about the conference and what we're planning.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm really excited to hear such a diverse panel of experts and our speakers as well. I think that they've all experienced their own trials and tribulations as well as great successes, and so I think everyone that we have on this event really has been honest about some of the setbacks that they've had. And what I love about them, the ones that I've connected with, is that they've put aside their egos and have been honest and asked for help when they've needed it. One of our panelists had to lay off a number of staff, and that was crushing for her. Her industry. So I'm speaking of Christy Harold, who is the CEO of the Sport and Social Club, and she was doing leagues. Her company does leagues from all across Canada, where they're focused on team building through sport, and so that had to be put on hold, and she had to pivot. And she was doing like online team building for companies, and through sort of the power of recreation and fun activities. And she posted about having to lay off staff and about how upsetting that was, and reaching out, like, how can you support what we're going through, and also maybe our staff. And it was just really quite beautiful to see so many people respond on LinkedIn, saying, well, I can do this, and I can share this, and I'll let people know in my HR ecosystem that you have these amazing team building events. So I found that really heartwarming.
What about you, Bill?
Well, I'm excited for a bunch of stuff, Bobby. Firstly, to see your beautiful face, of course. All right. Enough of that. So I'm excited because we've got quite a diversity in terms of the sectors that our speakers are coming from, and the shared experiences. So in my work life, I consistently hear from folk who are from tech companies, or from leadership consultancies, or other HR related folk in banks or other big organizations, right? But this event, we're going to have people who are talking from areas such as the arts and how that's affected the arts, such as theatre. When was the last time you got to go to the theatre, everyone? Well, I bet it was about a year ago, wasn't it? Yeah. And I'm quite excited about understanding some of their experiences and what they've tried to do to get through this period. I think because there's going to be a big universe of different experiences, we're all going to learn. We're all going to have new lessons from it. So it's not just a case of you attend this and you listen to a bunch of talking heads, ladies and gentlemen. Who knew? We're all gonna have experiences to share, and there's going to be lots of opportunities to take new things away. Beyond that, I think there'll be a lot of practical tips as well. Okay, so this isn't going to be one of those events where it's well, you really should be doing a webinar, guys, because that's what everybody else is doing. You're gonna get real insights into ways that work to reach new people, to engage with new people, to have new conversations, to build new relationships in this digital ecosystem that we're all living in right now. But with maybe some kind of a roadmap to help you get out of the situation, and when we can all get back into in-person relationships and shaking people's hands and all the rest of it, you have all of these new tools and all of these new ideas. So I think that's pretty cool.
And we're gonna have fun too. Like that's the other thing is we're gonna have fun. We're doing an after party. We're gonna play some games. Our sessions are going to be interactive, so we're going to use some really cool tools. This is a professionally produced conference, and our team. You can check out our sponsors on the website. We're all working together really closely to really blow your mind in terms of expectations of what you see a traditional online event to be. We're all three of us are event producers. So we were like, what can we do to really, take this to the next level? And I think that our lineup and the way we're going to accomplish this is really going to shine through.
Yeah, I forgot about that because, it's not just a Zoom meeting, guys. It's actually this whole online event, interactive conference thing that we've had with our sponsors that are putting this together for us. It looks amazing. I was blown away. And I'm actually excited about the breakout rooms and the conversation with the smaller groups and and the networking and connecting with people. I think that's going to be really, really awesome. So yeah, I'm excited about that too. That's kind of cool. And for me, I like the diversity of the different types of people that we have across different industries. I think it's going to be an awesome event. So again, make sure you check the link in the post in terms of ourcommunitybuilders.com. You can certainly register. It's free. Tell your friends, tag people. Let's get as many people as possible to benefit from this conference. Again, we're here as a Power Connection Show. We're talking about community builders in crisis. If anyone has any last minute questions, this is the Q&A section. So if you have any questions or comments, we can certainly take them. Otherwise, maybe we'll just we'll probably end it and go from there. But that being said, is there anything going on the next little while that either of you want to promote? Besides the conference. Yeah.
From my end, we've got a whole bunch of other Innovate Work events coming up. East Coast, Caribbean, UK, Australia, West Coast, Rockies, and Midwest, all over the course of the next few months. So please do check those out. I'm a shameless promoter through LinkedIn and places, so click on those and check those out. If you haven't listened to my podcast yet, if nothing else, it's good for insomnia. So you might want to do that. Those are the main things really that I wanted to highlight. Lee, what about you?
Yeah, my focus is in helping women, which obviously more than ever is really is so important because I'm hearing really heartbreaking stories of people that have gone through some pretty major trials and tribulations. And so we've been expanding our program like crazy. We're working with employers. We're doing 2 events per month. We have a mentor circle as well as a Level Up Your Impact and Accountability Club for our members. So the first and the last Tuesday of the month. Like Bill, I like to podcast. And so we have the Time to Thrive podcast where we interview experts as well as community builders on topics related to thriving in business. And last but not least, we have a book club, an author-led book club coming up on March 10th. We have an author, Harvard. She works through the Harvard Business School and talks about how we can all do more in our work practices to do good. So, I definitely consider myself a social entrepreneur. I really want to do all I can to make the world a better place. I know it's cliche, but I actually really believe that's what keeps me going. So that's what I've got going on.
Great, guys. I appreciate that. And for me, I mentioned the storytelling webinar tomorrow, but actually, I'm running a 5-day thought leadership building challenge. So basically, I'm taking all my keynotes from the last 15 years, and I'm doing it 5 days in a row, 1 hour at a time. And I'm going to take people on a whole journey on how to build a thought leadership brand. And it's free because this is the time for us to support each other. It's actually happening the second week of February. So if anyone's interested, let me know, and I can send you the deets. And then we're actually, aside from the Community Builders in Crisis event on February 25th, we're also planning our first, DYP is trying to plan their first LinkedIn local end of March. Still TBD, but that's coming up down the pipeline. So we're pretty excited about that. So, and also I'm big on Clubhouse now. If you guys have been in Clubhouse, I mean, oh my gosh, it is crazy. I've been on the Clubhouse now for less than 4 weeks. I now have over 2,200 followers. I started a club called Thought Leadership Branding and now has over 850 members in this club. It's an incredible place to build community through digestible content because it's all audio, so you can be doing the dishes while you're talking to people, and it's all conversation driven, not content driven. So it's kind of cool. So yeah, and you guys on there yet or no?
I am. Yeah, I've been sort of behind the scenes on it so far, but I know that as community builders, we want to connect with people on the different platforms that they use, and so I think we're planning on doing a Clubhouse. We just have to get Bill to join our Clubhouse.
Yeah, I mean, actually, full disclosure, I was going to join one last night, and it was bath time for my 17-year-old boy. So I had to weigh up, adding to my technological skills or getting screamed at by my 7-month-old child. And he won out. But it's on my list. Later this week.
You made the right decision, Bill. That's good. That's good. Well, listen. I think we'll end it because unless someone has a last minute question on the feed. But first off, thanks everybody for joining us for the Power Connection chat. Join us every Wednesday at 8:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for us chatting about leadership and entrepreneurship and the career journeys and all the different things that we care about. And I want to thank Bill and Lee for joining us today. And I also want to thank you for being part of the collaboration team that's helping us put together. We're all working together to put together this great event on February 25th. OurCommunityBuilders.com. Check it out. And thanks so much for being here. It's been a lot of fun. You guys are always fun to talk to. It's great.
Cheers, Bobby.
Thanks so much for having us. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Okay, everybody. So long.
Bye, everyone.
All right, one more thing. If you have questions, even after this broadcast, you can still put them in. You can tag us, and we'll actually answer them. Okay, so this thing will sit on my profile for a while, and so you can certainly, actually forever, I guess, and you can answer any questions you want. So ask any question you want, and we'll be happy to answer them. Sound good, guys?
Sounds good.
Yes, absolutely. One last thing. I think what I think a lot of people can do is tell us some of the things that they are experiencing and having challenges on. And the thing about our event is that it's not just one day. It's like this is something we're going to have a back end experience, things that we can add, even if we're not able to put on sessions or speakers related to a topic that someone may have a challenge around, but we can build upon it, right? So this is just the beginning. So I think that's one takeaway that I hope people can be cognizant of, that we can help them beyond just the February 25th.
And if Lee is doing one last thing, I'm going to throw in one last thing as well.
Sure.
If you don't mind, Bob, this conversation today was all about community building, and I can see that there are people who've joined this live today, such as Nick Gibson. Hey, Nick, how are you? But there's also a bunch of people who are my second or third connections. Shoot me a connection request. That's what this is all about. Let's connect. Let's exchange ideas. Let's get to know each other.
I love it.
Yeah. We actually put all of our conference speakers linked to their profiles because we want people to make connections.
Yeah. And that's why this is called the Power Connection Chat. So thanks so much for joining us. And everybody, so long, stay safe, and we'll talk soon.